Hello, my name is Catherine. I'm 28, and I never thought I'd tell anyone this. But there are things in my past that stick to me like shadows, things I've tried hard to erase. Recently, though, something shifted. For the first time, someone looked at me and didn't see just my past. But yesterday, right in front of everyone, he discovered who I really was. And the look in his eyes, the hurt, the shock, I can't get it out of my head. I wonder now, can we ever truly escape what we've done? Or is tenderness forever out of my reach? Before we dive deeper, take a breath, get comfortable. This journey might get pretty intense. And please, if you're connecting with what I'm sharing, hit the like button and subscribe. It helps me feel less alone in all this. Actually, I'd love your thoughts. What would you do in my shoes? Drop a comment. Your advice might just change everything. Hello. My name is Catherine. I'm 28, and honestly, I stopped counting nights like this long ago. Nights that blur into one endless smoky haze of neon signs, cheap perfume, and aching feet from too many dances. But tonight feels different, somehow sharper, like the city itself knows this could be my last dance here. The club pulses with thick bass, vibrating through my bones, mixing with the faint smell of whiskey and cologne. I slide onto the stage under shifting purple lights, feeling countless gazes settle on me. Every glance feels heavy, almost suffocating, yet strangely familiar. I move slowly, mechanically, the silk dress brushing against my skin, feeling more like armor than a lure tonight. His question startles me. People here don't ask questions, not real ones anyway. Catherine, I reply slowly, almost tasting my own name for the first time in years. I'm here, just here. Daniel looks around thoughtfully, as if noticing the club's bleak details for the first time. Is here where you really want to be? Something in his voice cuts through my practiced defenses. A flush of vulnerability ripples through me. No, I whisper, surprising myself with honesty. His gaze softens even further. Then leave, tonight, with me. Start something real. I freeze, shock pulsing through me like a cold wave. My mind races. Is this a trick? Another false promise wrapped neatly in hope? But Daniel's expression holds no deceit, only genuine concern and cautious optimism. The lights shift again, briefly illuminating his face. I see clearly that he's waiting patiently, ready to accept whichever choice I make. I glance back toward the stage, feeling the weight of my past pressing down, pushing me away. The smoky air suddenly feels unbearable, the neon lights too bright, too artificial. My pulse quickens, decision made almost instinctively. All right, I whisper, feeling something terrifying yet thrilling unfold inside me. Let's go. Across the room, a new face catches my eye. Not because he's handsome, though he undeniably is, but because he's looking at me differently. Not predatory, not greedy, but curious, soft, even respectful, if that's possible here. His dark hair falls just above calm, serious eyes. He's sharply dressed, clearly out of place amid the flashy regulars. When I finish, stepping down to mingle, he's still watching. He walks over casually, as though approaching an old friend rather than a dancer for hire. You look distracted, he says quietly, leaning close enough to be heard over the music, but careful to keep distance. Like you weren't really here. I laugh softly. It's practiced, detached, but my heart is unexpectedly racing. Aren't we all somewhere else, at least in our heads? I respond, trying to keep control of the conversation. He smiles slightly, eyes gentle. I'm Daniel. I design buildings. I'm in town for a conference. And you? San Francisco welcomed me gently, like a city waiting to heal wounds I didn't know I carried. Daniel's home stood quietly on the shore, overlooking waves that crashed softly onto the sand, steady and rhythmic. I'd never known a peace like this. Mornings with coffee on the balcony, evenings lost in conversations about dreams and fears. I found myself slowly becoming someone new. Or perhaps, finally, myself. Tonight was different, special. Daniel's career-defining project brought us to an elegant party, held in a glittering ballroom at a luxurious downtown hotel. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead, champagne flutes clinked gently. I wore a simple yet elegant black dress Daniel had chosen, feeling oddly vulnerable in the sophisticated crowd. Holding Daniel's hand tightly, I navigated conversations filled with architectural jargon, silently marveling at how far I'd come from neon-lit nights. Until suddenly, everything changed. A familiar voice sliced through the room like an icy blade. "Well, isn't that Catherine? Never thought I'd see her at an event like this." My heartbeat froze. I recognized him instantly. A client from the club, someone whose harsh eyes and smug grin I desperately wished I could forget. Conversations halted, and curious, judgmental eyes turned towards us. Daniel's grip tightened instinctively. "You know each other?" Daniel asked, his voice tight, confusion barely masking an edge of fear. "Oh, we do," the man smirked, swirling his drink casually. "She was quite popular back in LA. Best money I ever spent, honestly." Silence crushed the room. Heat flooded my cheeks, shame and fear clawing up my throat. Daniel stared at me, eyes wide with disbelief and betrayal. I tried desperately to hold his gaze, hoping he'd see the truth behind the shame, the person I'd fought so hard to become, but his eyes had turned distant, cold. Without a word, he released my hand, stepping back slightly, leaving an unbearable void between us. I can explain," I whispered, voice shaking, pleading for him to see beyond this moment. Daniel's face, usually calm and warm, was frozen in shock. "Can you?" he murmured. The question lingered painfully in the air. The whispers around us grew louder, each voice magnifying my humiliation, each glance burning hotter on my skin. My chest tightened, the room spun around me. Every step forward I'd fought for felt violently ripped away, leaving me naked in a room full of strangers who now knew exactly who and what I was. Unable to bear his silence any longer, I turned, walking away quickly, tears already blurring the glittering lights. Behind me lay the wreckage of a life I'd foolishly believed I could claim, destroyed in a single devastating moment. After that night, things between Daniel and me were never the same. Our once warm home had grown tense, every silence heavy with unspoken accusations. He'd promised to understand, yet his eyes betrayed lingering doubts every time we touched. Each embrace felt scrutinized, each kiss examined for sincerity or deceit. I found myself performing again, but this time desperately proving my innocence, begging him silently to trust the truth in my heart. Tonight, tension exploded in an upscale restaurant overlooking San Francisco Bay. Candles flickered gently on white-clothed tables. The soft hum of conversations filled the elegant space. Yet at our table, the air crackled dangerously. "Who were you talking to earlier?" Daniel asked suddenly, his tone sharp, accusing. "Just an acquaintance," I replied carefully, heart racing. "He works with Elizabeth, nothing more." Daniel leaned in, voice low but strained. "An acquaintance? Another friend from LA?" His words cut deep, humiliation rising hot in my chest. Around us, heads subtly turned, discreetly listening. My throat tightened, embarrassment threatening to suffocate me. "You can't keep doing this," I whispered harshly, eyes pleading with him. "I've told you, there's nothing else. Why won't you believe me?" Daniel's eyes narrowed, bitterness clear. Maybe because I've seen you act before. Pain shot through me. My voice trembled uncontrollably. I left that behind. For you. For us. He stood abruptly, chair scraping loudly against polished wood. Conversations stilled around us, eyes openly staring now. Did you really? His voice echoed sharply. Or is this all just another performance? Tears blurred my vision. Humiliation turned to desperation. Daniel, please, let's not do this here. Why not? He snapped coldly, voice breaking slightly with emotion. Afraid someone else might find out your secret? Anger and despair collided inside me. I rose shakily, voice raw, pleading openly now. Is this how you want us? Destroyed in public? Daniel's jaw clenched, pain flickering behind anger. I don't know anymore, Catherine. Without another word, he walked out, leaving me standing alone, trembling beneath countless judging eyes. Their murmurs and whispers echoed like thunder, branding me again as unworthy, tainted. Stumbling outside, the cool air hit me sharply, mingling with tears streaming down my face. Rain began falling gently, mixing with my tears, drenching me in bitter cold. I moved blindly toward the Golden Gate Bridge, the lights stretching far and bright into the fog. On the bridge, cars blurred past, headlights slicing through mist. I gripped the rail, leaning against it, shaking. Far below, waves crashed violently, dark and endless, mirroring my turmoil. I felt trapped between the woman I'd become and the woman I desperately wanted to leave behind. Tonight, standing drenched and broken, I finally realized maybe I was never meant to be loved. Returning to Los Angeles felt bitterly inevitable, like stepping back into a shadow I'd convinced myself I could outrun. The club embraced me without judgment or question. Darkness never judged, it only swallowed you deeper. Neon lights glowed harshly, their glare as unwelcoming as ever. I moved through familiar routines mechanically, my body performing without warmth, my eyes cold and detached. Yet even surrounded by countless faces and noise, I felt utterly alone. Each night stripped away more of the fragile hope I'd built with Daniel, leaving behind a hollowness too deep to fill. My reflection, caught briefly in mirrored walls, showed a woman I barely recognized. Beautiful, distant, empty. At the bar, between sets, I found solace with Michael, the bartender whose gentle presence and patient eyes hinted at wisdom beyond mixing drinks. "You're not really here, are you?" Michael said quietly, pouring whiskey slowly into a glass. I smiled bitterly. "Feels like I've never been here, or anywhere else, honestly." He paused, studying me thoughtfully. "You've convinced yourself you don't deserve better, Catherine. But maybe you're wrong." I looked away, throat tightening. "I've tried better, Michael. It always ends the same." He leaned forward, voice gentle yet firm. "Only because you've accepted someone else's story as your own truth. Who told you you're defined by your past?" His words sliced through the noise, striking deep. I stared into my drink, tears dangerously close. "The world tells me every single day." Michael's eyes softened, then changed the narrative. "You decide who Catherine is, not them." His simple statement resonated powerfully, lighting a fragile spark of hope within me. Yet fear still gripped tightly, whispering doubts, reminding me of every humiliating failure. That night, performing under pulsing lights again, something inside me shifted. The faces staring up blurred together, losing their power. Their gaze didn't define me, not tonight. Maybe Michael was right. Perhaps I had let others write my story for too long. After the show, stepping out into the early dawn, I felt different, restless and awake, with the first hints of determination stirring beneath layers of self-doubt. I stood on the sidewalk as Los Angeles woke around me, sky streaked in soft pinks and oranges, a contrast to my fading internal darkness. Taking a deep breath, I knew the city would always remind me of who I'd been. But maybe, just maybe, I could find out who I might yet become. With newfound resolve, fragile but stubbornly alive, I whispered softly to myself. Something powerful ignited inside me, a determination I hadn't felt in years. With money I'd saved, I enrolled in psychology classes, driven by a single purpose: to help other women escape shadows similar to mine. Each day became a new opportunity, a step away from the darkness of my past. Soon I opened a small counseling practice downtown, a cozy, welcoming space flooded with sunlight, entirely opposite the neon-lit club I'd left behind. Women came hesitantly at first, guarded and wary, but their walls lowered when they saw themselves in my eyes, felt the genuine warmth in my words. Tonight was special, a public seminar held at an upscale hotel conference room. Hundreds of eyes stared expectantly as I stood on stage beneath warm, golden lights. My heartbeat quickened, nerves rising, but determination overshadowed fear. "I'm Catherine," I began firmly, voice trembling slightly. "And I used to sell myself every night because I thought I had no worth beyond that." Gasps rippled through the audience, but I pressed forward, speaking openly, hiding nothing. Each painful detail released something heavy inside me, setting me freer with every word. I thought love was something I'd never deserve, but that was someone else's story. It's not mine anymore. My gaze swept the crowd, connecting deeply, emotionally. Then, suddenly, my heart stopped. There, in the back, sat Daniel. His presence was shocking yet strangely comforting. He met my eyes carefully, face etched with regret, sadness, and something else, a quiet admiration. "I've learned," I continued, courage growing stronger, "that healing begins when we stop believing we deserve to be judged by others. It starts when we finally choose to forgive ourselves." The room erupted into applause. I breathed deeply, heart swelling with triumph. Afterwards, as people approached to share gratitude, Daniel stayed quietly behind. Finally, when the room emptied, he approached cautiously. "Catherine," he murmured softly, voice thick with emotion. "I was wrong." "You hurt me deeply," I replied quietly, truth raw yet gentle. "But in a way, I owe you thanks. You showed me exactly what I needed, to find myself first." He nodded, eyes humble and sincere. "Seeing you tonight, so strong, brave, it made me realize how weak I was." I smiled gently, warmth blooming within me. "You were scared. We both were." He hesitated. "Is there a chance for us? Or have I ruined everything?" I reached out slowly, touching his hand lightly. "I honestly don't know yet. I still have a lot of healing to do." Daniel squeezed my hand softly, accepting. "Then I'll wait, for however long it takes." As he walked away, I stood alone, heart both aching and hopeful. Tonight was not an ending. It was a courageous beginning, a promise to myself that tenderness was not out of reach. Success brought a spotlight I wasn't prepared for. News outlets started to share my story, painting me as brave and inspiring. But with visibility came scrutiny, and soon enough, old shadows resurfaced, threatening everything I had carefully rebuilt. One afternoon, while checking messages at my office, my phone buzzed violently with notifications. Curious and wary, I opened my social media and froze, my heart hammering against my ribs. On screen, a viral post from James Lockhart, an influential politician I'd known intimately in my past life, stared back harshly. "Catherine isn't a hero. She's manipulating all of you, profiting from her past. Don't let her fool you." Comments flooded in, harsh and supportive alike, making my stomach churn. I whispered aloud in disbelief, "Why now? Why him? An assistant called nervously, confirming the unthinkable. A major news channel requested an immediate live interview featuring James himself. Panic surged through me, but I forced calmness, understanding I had to face this openly or risk losing everything again. The TV studio felt cold, lights glaring painfully bright. James sat confidently, his polished appearance masking hidden hostility. The camera blinked red, signaling we were live. "Catherine," the host began neutrally, "you've become an inspiring figure, but Mr. Lockhart here claims you're manipulating your audience. What's your response?" My heart raced, my voice trembling slightly at first. "I've hidden nothing. Yes, I have a past I deeply regret, but I've used it openly to help others heal, not profit from pain." James scoffed openly, interrupting sharply. "You were always convincing, Catherine. That's your talent. But this performance has gone too far." Tears stung my eyes, but I steadied myself, leaning in earnestly. "I won't deny my mistakes, but I'm no longer defined by them. Why do you insist otherwise?" James leaned closer, eyes cold, voice dripping venom. "Because people like you never really change. You're selling another fantasy." Silence hung thickly, tension palpable in the studio. Anger and hurt battled inside me, but slowly, clearly, my words came forward. "I'm not selling fantasies. I'm showing reality, that anyone can reclaim their story. Even you, James, deserve redemption. But first, you must stop blaming others for your shame." Shock rippled across his face, and the studio fell silent. I stood my ground firmly, heart pounding, yet calm. Viewers' messages appeared quickly, now overwhelmingly supportive, each voicing encouragement. "I believe, Catherine, we all deserve second chances. Stay strong, your truth matters." I breathed deeply, understanding this public collision had become my ultimate test. Maybe, finally, the shadows of the past would lose their power. Tonight, I'd stepped fully into the light, and no one, not even James Lockhart, could force me back into darkness. After that televised confrontation, my phone exploded with support, but I still felt vulnerable, exposed yet stronger than ever. The world now openly debated my truth, which was both empowering and terrifying. One afternoon, an email notification caught my eye. Elizabeth Morrow, a celebrated author and advocate for women's rights, had reached out. Her words immediately eased my anxiety. "I saw your bravery and integrity, Catherine. I'd love to meet and discuss a project, something bigger, something transformative." We arranged a meeting at a bustling cafe overlooking Venice Beach. Elizabeth sat waiting calmly, elegant yet approachable, her presence warm and reassuring. "Catherine," she greeted me gently, standing to embrace me briefly. "You're even more impressive in person." I smiled nervously, appreciating her kindness, yet feeling self-conscious. "I'm honestly still adjusting. Everything happened so quickly." Elizabeth nodded knowingly. "It's always overwhelming when the world decides who you are before you've even figured it out yourself." Her words resonated deeply. "Exactly," I whispered, relieved someone understood. Elizabeth leaned forward, eyes bright with determination. "You have an opportunity here, a real chance to make lasting change. Let's create a center to help women rebuild their lives." Her proposal instantly sparked excitement inside me, visions flooding my mind. A safe place, resources, hope. "Do you really think people would support it?" She smiled confidently. "They already do. People crave authenticity, Catherine. You've given them something real." The weeks following our meeting became a whirlwind of activity. Planning, fundraising, speaking engagements. Elizabeth's steady guidance fueled my passion, the center quickly transforming from vision to reality. Meanwhile, Daniel's messages appeared occasionally, cautiously supportive, respectful, yet hopeful. He never pressured, always gently reminding me he was there, patiently waiting. One evening, exhausted yet fulfilled, I sat alone in my new office. Outside, the Los Angeles sunset painted the sky in soft oranges and purples, a peaceful contrast to the turbulent past months. A message from Daniel flashed quietly on my screen. "I saw your latest speech online. You've become extraordinary, Catherine. I regret every moment I doubted you." My heart ached gently, remembering our complicated history. Slowly, thoughtfully, I responded, "Thank you, Daniel. Your faith still means the world. Maybe someday we'll finally meet again, when I'm truly ready." His reply came instantly, simple yet powerful. "I'll wait, as long as it takes." I leaned back, breathing deeply, feeling a quiet strength settle within me. Elizabeth's unexpected alliance, Daniel's patient presence, and the public's growing support had created something beautiful from the ashes of my past. For the first time in years, hope didn't feel fragile. It felt undeniable. The grand opening of our Women's Support Center was scheduled at an elegant venue overlooking the San Francisco Bay. Bright lights illuminated the stage. Anticipation buzzed softly among the guests filling the spacious hall. Cameras positioned discreetly captured every detail for a live online stream, intensifying my nervousness, yet sharpening my determination. I stepped onto the stage, applause warmly greeting me. My voice resonated clearly as I shared our center's vision, my journey, and the lessons learned along the way. Suddenly, whispers rippled across the audience, drawing my attention toward the aisle. Daniel approached hesitantly, dressed impeccably, eyes locked firmly on mine. A mixture of surprise, anticipation, and anxiety flooded through me. Without hesitation, he walked up the steps, microphone in hand, his presence instantly commanding the room's attention. "Catherine," he began, his voice soft yet powerful. "I need to say something publicly, something I should have said months ago." My heart skipped painfully, uncertain of his intentions, yet feeling oddly safe. He turned toward the audience briefly, vulnerable, yet steady. "I doubted Catherine. I allowed fear and insecurity to cloud what should have been clear. Her past doesn't define her. It never did." He faced me directly, raw sincerity shining in his eyes. "I'm truly sorry for my weakness, my mistrust, my inability to see who you really are. You didn't need saving. I did." Silence held the room, every breath suspended, waiting. Emotions swelled within me. Gratitude, relief, lingering sadness, but above all, deep compassion. Stepping closer, I took his hand gently. "Daniel, I forgave you a long time ago. I understand now that love sometimes exposes wounds we're too afraid to face." He nodded slowly, eyes glistening softly with tears. "I want to rebuild, not to erase our past, but to create something stronger from it." The audience murmured supportively, comments streaming across screens nationwide. "Catherine deserves happiness, rooting for you both. This is real love, beautiful and complicated." Emotions surged through me, but I spoke gently, resolutely. "We both need time, Daniel. Healing can't be rushed." He smiled warmly, acceptance clear. "I'll give you all the time you need. My promise stands." The crowd erupted into applause, celebrating not only our honesty, but also the center itself, a symbol of renewal, strength, and forgiveness. Elizabeth approached smiling, placing a reassuring hand on my shoulder. Afterward, alone backstage, Daniel embraced me gently, whispering softly, "Thank you for letting me be part of your story again." Smiling quietly, I felt genuine peace, a deep, undeniable certainty that love wasn't an illusion I chased blindly, but something tangible, real, worth fighting for. Tonight, in front of countless witnesses, I'd faced love's hardest test and survived, stronger than ever. Months passed quickly after that pivotal night. Our women's center blossomed, its halls buzzing with the soft hum of healing and newfound confidence. Each day, women walked through our doors, finding safety, courage, and their voices, a mirror to my own ongoing journey. Daniel kept his promise, offering quiet, patient support from a respectful distance. Our conversations grew longer, more honest, gradually healing the fractures left by mistrust and pain. One late afternoon, as the sun dipped low, casting golden hues across the Pacific Ocean, I stood alone on the beach near our old house. Waves gently kissed the shore, their steady rhythm soothing my thoughts. Footsteps approached softly behind me. I turned, heart skipping slightly as Daniel paused beside me. "Beautiful evening," he murmured, eyes fixed thoughtfully on the horizon. I nodded quietly, sensing the importance in his presence. "It is." He turned toward me, voice gentle yet serious. "Catherine, I've watched you transform, not into someone new, but into who you always were underneath. I want to be part of this life, if you'll have me." My pulse quickened, uncertainty rising briefly. I glanced down at the sand, speaking softly. "Daniel, I'm not the same woman you once knew." He stepped closer, voice filled with sincerity. "I know. That's why I'm here. Not to reclaim the past, but to embrace the woman you've become." Warmth filled my chest, my fears dissolving gently. "You're sure?" He smiled gently, nodding without hesitation. "Completely. I've never been more certain." Slowly, carefully, he reached for my hand, intertwining our fingers tenderly. We stood quietly, watching the sun sink toward the ocean, colors blazing brilliantly, reds, purples, and golds, a breathtaking reflection of renewal. "I used to believe tenderness was out of my reach," I whispered softly. "That love would always come with pain." Daniel squeezed my hand reassuringly. "Not anymore. You've reclaimed it, Catherine, on your terms." We stood silently again, the vast ocean before us symbolizing endless possibilities. I breathed deeply, feeling a new chapter unfolding within me, one built on trust, courage, and mutual respect. Turning to him slowly, I met his eyes directly, my voice clear and gentle. "I'm ready to try again, carefully, honestly, without expectations." His eyes softened further, relief mingling with quiet joy. "We'll take it as slow as you need." As the evening deepened into twilight, we walked side by side along the shore, steps matching effortlessly, each movement symbolic of harmony regained. My heart felt lighter, freer, a rebirth not just in love, but in myself. Tonight, beneath the gentle glow of stars appearing above, I finally understood clearly. My past no longer imprisoned me. I'd stepped firmly into a future entirely my own. Our wedding day dawned bright and clear, as if the universe itself offered approval for our fresh start. The ceremony was intimate, held on a quiet stretch of beach where gentle waves whispered reassurances. White fabric billowed softly in the breeze, flowers scented the warm air, and familiar faces gathered, smiling warmly. Those I'd helped, those who'd helped me, each a precious reminder of resilience and redemption. Michael stood nearby, his eyes shining gently, pride radiating as strongly as the California sun overhead. Elizabeth greeted me warmly, whispering encouragement, her strength now seamlessly intertwined with mine. Surprisingly, a letter arrived from James Lockhart the night before, carefully worded yet unmistakably genuine. "I'm sorry, Catherine. You've taught me that change and forgiveness are possible, even for someone like me." Reading his words felt strangely cathartic, releasing any lingering bitterness I held onto. As music played softly, I approached Daniel slowly, each step reinforcing my certainty. He waited calmly, love openly visible in his eyes. Reaching him, I took his hand, heart overflowing with quiet joy. "I've walked many paths," I began softly, voice trembling slightly yet clear. "But none as important as the path toward loving myself enough to finally love you." Daniel's smile widened gently, steadying me. "You've shown me what courage truly means, Catherine. Loving you is my greatest privilege." The officiant spoke quietly, but I barely heard the words, lost in Daniel's eyes, understanding finally the tenderness I'd always sought was here, earned through hardship, strengthened by forgiveness. When we exchanged rings, tears blurred my vision briefly, emotions overwhelming yet beautifully cleansing. Our first kiss as spouses felt tender and profound, applause echoing joyfully around us, celebrating not just our union, but every victory that led here. Later, amid laughter and heartfelt speeches, I stood alone briefly near the ocean, waves whispering softly at my feet. Behind me, celebration continued, voices mingling happily in the twilight. Daniel approached quietly, slipping his arms gently around me. "Everything okay?" he murmured tenderly into my ear. I leaned into him comfortably, heart finally at peace. Perfect. More than perfect. Turning slowly, I faced him directly, voice gentle but firm. I never imagined tenderness could feel like this. So real, so safe. Daniel smiled softly, eyes glowing warmly. We built it together, through every scar, every struggle. It's ours. I nodded quietly, contentment settling deeply within me. Turning together toward the sunset, I felt my past lose its final grip, fading completely into shadows no longer feared. Tonight, standing hand in hand beneath stars that lit our way clearly forward, I knew with absolute certainty, tenderness wasn't just possible, it had become my beautiful, limitless reality.